Nice. We have very nice messages in the chat. Thank you. Okay, so I think that we can start with this webinar. The name is All About Hotels in Sabre Red 360. In this webinar, we are going to provide you with information on how to find the best properties and the rates available that we have for your travelers. This is the first meeting that we have in this year, 2023. So we would like to start the year showing graphical functions in Sabre 360 to book hotels easily.
Hi, Willa.
And thanks.
What are you doing?
Oh, we
I'm
have
on. It's okay.
some participants joining us. Thank you, everyone. Um, and I was just telling you that we are going to work with the technology today with content services for lodging. Thanks to this new technology, we have more than 1.2 million properties around the world. So you can easily access this information, this content by airport, by point of reference, by property number. We also have a wonderful map, so you can put the destination address of your customer, and then you can find the nearest hotels around this near this point. So we have, as I said, a lot of nice things to show you today. Some of you don't know me. My name is Leilani. I'm based in Montevideo in Uruguay. That's why I have this weird accent. And I belong to the sales campaign team. We work for Latin America and for the Caribbean. And I'll be your host today. So during the session, I will be monitoring the chat, seeing your comments, your questions, passing the questions to the presenter and the panelists that are with us today. And we will try to answer all the questions that you have in this session. But if we have some questions unanswered, we will send them later via email, okay? But all your questions are welcome. So now let's review some important information along this webinar. We will work for 1 hour. The session is being recorded because after we would like to share it with you. So as you can see, also your lines are on mute. Let's try to keep them on mute to guarantee the correct development of the session. And we are going to use the chat. So I'll be monitoring the chat and your comments there. After the meeting, I'm going to share with you the link, the recording of the session, so you can revisit it or you can forward to other colleagues that could not participate today. I'm going to send you the presentation that Victoria is going to use with you. We are going to share the training calendar and the link to the customer satisfaction survey, which is very important for us to know your input. Okay. So now let's introduce the presenter and panelists that we have today. So Victoria is one of the product training specialists, and she will guide all of us in the Sabre 360 workflow. And we also have Kelly. Kelly is the specialist for sales strategy. She works for the team of Lodging, Ground and Sea, and she will be answering your questions as well together with Victoria. So thank you to both of them for being with us today. And I think that now, Victoria, you can take control of the screen so you can start showing us Sabre 360 and all the things that we can do in our working area. Okay.
Sure. Sure. Well, good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, depending on where you are. I see some familiar names actually on the list of attendees. I continue admitting some people here, so hopefully everybody is able to get here on time. I am going to share actually my screen. I think actually, Lay, I don't need to take control. I just need to share my screen. So bear with me 1 second as I actually do that. You should be able to see my Sabre screen now.
We do. Yes,
Sure.
we do.
Okay, so give me just 1 second so I can kind of adjust my screen so I can see if anybody joins right now. And we'll go ahead and get started. Actually, I have the pleasure to share with you some of the greatest functionalities about hotels with Sabre Red 360 today. So, as you can see, we will be working on the graphical workflow. I'm going to give you some highlights of hotels with Sabre Red 360. And then, of course, I will recommend our 2 hour training session on hotels and CSL content, which is what we will be going through today. So, as we said, mainly what we would like to share with you is more than likely the graphical workflow, some of the formats that some of you probably know. For those of you that have been working with Sabre for a while, some of those formats will continue to work. However, the workflow, when you do it graphically, it's extremely, extremely helpful, user friendly, intuitive. So, I'm really excited about being able to show this to you. As you can see, you can still have the chance to go back and forth between the manual command and command helper. One of the things that I use once in a while, just in case, is just Control I, just to toggle between the two ways for me to work. But as I said, we will be going through the graphical more than likely. I'm going to go to hotel, and you will see all the possibilities that you have to the left hand side of the screen. The hotel tab, it's divided into different possibilities you will find in order for you to be able to find the right property for your customers. So we can do the hotel search where the location is going to be the key. And here we have a lot of amazing things because as you can see on that gray, light gray text that appears, you have the chance to look for airports, but also you can look as the location, a city or a point of interest. And this is something that for me it's amazing because I do remember the old commands that we used to have. And nowadays it's really, really amazing and easy to find whatever you're looking for. So even if you do not know how to spell something out, or, like if your customer is going to a place where the language it's a foreign language, like if they were coming to Uruguay and you wouldn't know how to spell that out, that's a possibility here. So you can actually find everything. If you know the airport code, of course, you can type it. But if you are looking for, I don't know, the Empire State Building and you're not sure how that's filed on the system, well, here I can see how the display is divided in all the different categories, and that's city and areas. And of course, as I actually go down, I'm going to find the points of interest. So you will find in here everything that you need. I'm going to actually do just an airport search just to keep it simple. And what we are going to do is to put in the date. You can select how you want to work. I do like to move actually with my keyboard, but you can go ahead and you can just point and click in here. So I can choose from the calendar or I can type the date. I can tap to the number of nights and I can select the number of nights, and that's going to automatically put in the checkout date. As you can see, there's a possibility here that I do have in my Sabre, which is to actually upload the passenger types. This is going to be something that works for the aggregators, and it's actually something that's done on demand. So if you actually have more passengers that you want to add or children that you want to include in your search, you can go ahead and request that, and that's going to work for the aggregators. Now, being that said, aggregators. I don't know if that word sounds or rings a bell to you, but basically that's one of the greatest things that I'm going to show you on the result page, which is that in Sabre you do have the possibility not only to access the Sabre rates that you probably are used to get nowadays, but also all of those rates that you know from booking.com, Bets Online, Expedia, and that is kind of the key that we want to show you today as well. So these aggregators, that actually that word, it's actually referring to booking.com, bets online. And the great thing about Sabre with hotels is that you can actually access not only the Sabre rates, but also all of those other rates that you're able to access through the website. So booking.com, bets online, and every other aggregator you know. So we are going to see that on the next page. However, I did want to talk about that right now because this possibility of adding the passenger types is something that applies to the aggregators. We're going to see some qualifiers that you can include in your search, like the chain code. You can also put in the property names. If you have negotiated or contract rates, that's something that you can also include in here, your corporate, your client IDs. So those are going to give you access to negotiated or contract rates that you may have with the different hotels. You can also sort and specify the distance in miles and kilometers. And there's a lot of advanced qualifiers that you will be able to do or to use, sorry, in every search. One of the things that I like the most is that the codes or knowing the codes, it's something that is not longer needed. So for example, I can put a check mark on amenities or property types. And as I click outside that box and I enable my qualifiers, I have the chance to see a list. So I don't need to know actually that the code for pool it's POOL. That's going to be here on the list. Same with the property type. I do not need to know the code for a lecture property or for extended stay. That's going to be right here. So this is again some of the things, these are some of the things that you can actually take advantage of when you do a basic search for hotel. I'm going to keep it simple in here because one of the things that I want to show you is the results page. So I'm going to click on shop for hotels so we can see the results. When you actually navigate through the results page, which is going to come up at any time soon, again, I'm working on a certification environment. I am going to be able to see the information. So here I have my original search and I can see, of course, the list of hotels. I'm going to be able, before we actually focus on the response that we have here, I can actually sort my results. So for example, if I want to make sure that I get the best hotels rated by Sabre, I can say, well, I just want to see the results according to the Sabre rating. This is something great that you can do. So you can go ahead and specify what's your main key element for you to be able to sort the results. And you can also apply filters. So if you forgot about applying something or requesting something on your original search, you're always on time. You can say, well, I want a specific hotel chain that I forgot to select. I need a specific amenity. I actually want to establish that my customer is not going to pay nightly more than $250. I'm just going to leave it as it is. But you can go ahead and you can select what you want at this point as well. I have the chance also to select the rate source. And this is what I was sharing with you a moment ago. With Sabre, you have the ability, let me just go ahead and mute some lines here and okay, thank you. So with Sabre, you have the ability to actually get rates not only that belong to Sabre, let's put it in some way, but also the aggregator rates. Aggregators are booking.com, Bets Online, Expedia, and we will be able to access the content for everything on the same page. That's why you can also say, well, I just want to see the Sabre rates, or I only want to see booking.com. And this is a great, great feature that Sabre has. Of course, we have a map, which we're going to see in a second, but let's go ahead and take a look at the result. Because I applied an order according to the Sabre rating, you're going to see that the line numbers have changed. I have the logo of the hotel, and I'm going to have a lot of information that I can see about this particular hotel. In this case, we're going to grab as an example the Sofitel in Miami. We can see the distance to the reference point, and we're going to see the amenities. And this is something great because also before we needed to know some of the codes. And nowadays, you just need to hover the mouse over if the image is not clear enough. So you can go ahead and you can actually just hover your mouse. That's the key with Sabre Red 360 to understand what that little picture is telling you. We have, of course, the rating, which is the sort by that I used, and I have the rate. So this is one more time going back to what I was telling you about the aggregators. You're going to see here I have Sabre, but right below I have an Expedia rate. That is the idea. You can access all the information at the same time. You're going to see here Sabre. This is a Sabre rate 66.66, and that is the average nightly rate. And this triangle that you're seeing next to the rate, basically it's telling you that this 66.66 is the leading market rate. It belongs to Sabre, but there's more sources for this rate that you could choose from. So by clicking on that triangle, we are
Entendi.
able to see right here that
Entendi.
there that we have 66.66, like the leading market rate, that's Sabre. And then if I click on the triangle, I'm able to see in which other sources I'm going to find this hotel and rates for this hotel. So right here, you have access to Expedia, Booking.com. You can make a comparison. And of course, based on the agreements that you have with the different aggregators, and that means the commission that you arranged with them, you will be able to compare and choose what you want. Good? You can also open this app and you will be able to find a lot of information. Of course, the idea is to show you the highlights of this tool. We have a training that's going to be 2 hours long. So there are some things that I may quickly skip in here, but you're going to get out of this presentation the most important things. Now, the other thing that you can do when you are on the results page, apart from comparing the different rates and the different sources for the rates and getting to see some of the highlights of the different hotels, it's to use as a search or as a decision, I would say, functionality, your map. So if I open up the map, I have right here the reference point that I used. Remember that my reference point was Miami Airport in this case, and I can actually see that highlighted on the map. I will be able to pick up the hotels from here where I'm going to be able to see how they are actually opened on the right hand side of the screen. So I can actually use the map. You're going to see that this is extremely clear. It's actually showing to you even the street names. So you have everything that you need on this map, and based on the map, you will be able to make the selection. So this is a great functionality. You can choose from the map, you can choose from the list, and based on the list, that's going to take you to the map. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close the map. That's a wonderful functionality that you guys can use. And I'm going to go back to the top just to grab as an example that Sofidel that I was showing to you before. So I'm going to open this app, and once again, we have a lot of information. I highly recommend that you take the training, but also that you can explore these on your own. The property information that you're able to see in here, it's really easy to navigate. Like if you want to see the attractions, there's a menu where you're going to be able to click on the left hand side of the screen to go exactly to the type of information that you're looking for. If I'm looking for guarantee information, I have a search box where I can type in what I'm looking for. So this is very, very easy for you to be able to find what you need before making the decision. Also, remember, you can go ahead and you can highlight, you can copy, you can paste if you want to share this with your client. Pictures and videos, of course, are available in here, and you have the amenities for the hotel one more time, reflecting what you're able to see at a glance right here, but a little bit more of information. Your next step, it's going to be to see the rates. We know that right now we are checking for hotels available, but if we want to actually sell a hotel, we necessarily need to go to the rates. And on the rates, you will be able to find all the information. Again, all the rates, you're going to see some characteristics of the rates, which are very important to be able to see at a glance. But one more time, you have filters you can apply. And this is something that I love because one more time you can go ahead and say, well, I do not want to sell any non refundable rate. And I just want to get the ones where I'm getting commission. I do not sell Expedia. I do not want Expedia. I can exclude what I don't want. I have vetting type filters. So you can play around with the responses after you actually click on view rates. And there's a couple of nice things that I want to share with you as well in here. There's, of course, some information that you will be able to see at a glance. You're going to see that as you hover your mouse over some information, you will get some tooltips with more details. You're going to have also some little tooltips again on what are the requirements for the different rates, and you will see whether if this is refundable or not, what is the cancellation policy. And I want to show you something because it's very interesting, which is basically when there's a rate change. That's a very common question, or at least something that it's good for you to know. You're going to see there's an asterisk next to the average nightly rate, and this is indicating that there's a rate change. And this amount is where it's the actually coming from the average, all right, from all of these nights that you can see here as you hover your mouse over the average nightly rate. That's interesting information for you to be able to keep in mind. You have, of course, what the approximate total it's going to be. And then you're going to see this green dot. You may remember that apart from saying that I just wanted refundable rates, I also wanted the rates where I get commission. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to be able to see the commission. You guys, of course, will arrange this either with the hotel or with the aggregator. All right, what is the commission that you have with them? This is a training environment. Don't just take this seriously because I do not know what the arrangement is. However, here you can see the commission in percentage of amount, and this is again arranged directly with the agency and the hotel. So this is something that you can access very easily, as you can see. And of course, the rate information will also have a lot of content for you. So you can see the room description, you will have details on the cancellation policy, and more information. My advice to you, if you want to read this, it's actually to go to the rate details. It's a bit easier, I would say, to read in this way. So you can click on rate details, and right here you will be able to see all the information. I'm going to close these rate details, and what I'm going to do is to click on book. Of course, in this case, this is not going to work, and I'm doing this on purpose just to show you how Sabre works, how Sabre Red 360 works whenever it comes to an error. You know that hotels, well, if you don't know, I'm telling you, you are not going to be able to book a hotel without a traveler name or an agency address. So if I click on book and I have no PNR on my work area, or at least I have no traveler in agency address, Sabre, it's going to give me an error saying, you have to add a traveler name on our agency address. What Sabre does whenever it gives you an error is to give you the chance to add to the PNR. And this is something great that you can use in case you are creating a hotel reservation from scratch. So Sabre basically gives you a green button where you can fix what you're missing. So you just fill in the blanks. You will add to PNR. I'm not going to do it right now, but you will add to PNR and you will book. So in that way, you will be able to complete the process if you don't have a previously booked PNR. I'm going to show you an example where I do have that information, but this is what's going to happen to you if you decide to sell a hotel that you were displaying availability for just with no PNR. So what I'm going to do is to clean the screen. I'm going to do shift and backspace so we can do some additional search options that you will be able to have here. I'm going to click back on hotel. Remember all the functionalities you have, all the qualifiers you can use, and how easy it is to find them. There's another very, very nice search that you will be able to do, which is an address search. And we know the location more than likely is the key for our customers' decisions. So here you will be able to use not only the street name, but you could do it by postal code or zip code. So this is very, very nice. So right here, I am going to add a street name. So I'm going to do Griffin Road. This is actually in Miami, and I highly recommend you to wait for the information to come up so it actually auto completes all the rest that is required, like the province or state and the country. Then all the rest is exactly the same. You can tab, you can pick up from a calendar. So if I want to do this from the calendar, but I also want to type, I can do whatever I want here. We talked about all the other possibilities available for you, so you can go ahead and play around with the qualifiers. I'm going to just shop for hotels. And we will take a look once again at the results where you will be able to see some information that may not come up with Griffin Road right away. Okay, so more than likely the display in Sabre for hotels is random, but that's why we have this wonderful functionality that I was telling you about. So you can say, well, I want to just get this by price, which as you can see apparently is in order in this case. But you can also, if the key is the distance or the location, you can say, I want to sort by distance. In the previous example, I actually did Sabre rating. You can do price, you can do distance. So I'm going to just sort by distance and I'm going to click on apply. And you will be able to see that now my hotels are displayed in distance order. This is a great opportunity for you to go to the map and get to see actually the information. So you're going to see Griffin Road right here. That was your reference point, and you can pick up the hotels out of this display too. So this is actually a wonderful thing that you can keep in mind. I highly recommend that you take advantage of all of these features. I'm going to just close my map. And there's something else that you can do, which is basically another type of search, I would say, which is actually to use these numbers available for you here. This is the property number. All right, so we have actually a property number that identifies this unique property for Sabre. So we can go ahead and we can use any property number, and some of you, especially the ones that do corporate travel, may know the property numbers for the hotels that your corporate clients normally use. So you can actually use that property number. I'm going to just use this one that we have on the screen. And you can go to hotel, and instead of using the hotel search, address search, you're going to use hotel property number search. So if I actually place my property number in here, the only thing that I'm going to do, of course, is to put in the check-in date, the number of nights, and then you're going to see that there are some other possibilities, like to include again the client IDs for negotiated or contract rates. I can choose a rate category, but there's no amenities or property type qualifier because again, this number identifies a unique property. So I'm going to just shop for hotels, and what you're going to see is that it's going to take me directly into this Fairfield Infology, right? All of the elements that we actually discussed are going to get repeated once and over again. So I have the rate change. I can see a lot of information. I can apply my filters here if I want to get a different response or I want to filter out my response. Same as we did before, if I actually just apply filters, probably some of the things may change on the screen or not in this case, and I will be able to get to see all the information. From here again, you can go ahead and book, but of course you're going to continue getting the error unless you don't have a reservation on the screen, but you can fix it from here. Now, the last example that I want to share with you, it's actually out of a reservation where you can see again that this is going to work when you have an existing PNR or if you have a name in the agency address, the hotel will be actually confirmed right away. So what I'm going to do is to clean the screen and I'm going to display a PNR. And this one I'm going to do with a format. So I am going to do Control I and I'm going to display this PNR to use as an example. So I have a reservation displayed on the screen. I'm going to go back to graphical. And one of the things that we are going to use is the trip summary. This is an extremely useful feature of Sabre Red 360 that enables you to do pretty much everything you need on a PNR. I can add thanks to my PNR. I have a name. I also have an agency address in here. But I can also play with my reservation in case I need to include a hotel to this particular booking. You're going to see the three dots at the end of the segments, and that'll give me the chance to add a hotel. And this is something really nice because when I actually select add hotel, that's going to read my segments, it's going to read the city, it's going to read the check-in and the check-out. So that's really, really useful. Not only I'm going to be able to read that information, as you can clearly see the check-in, the number of nights, but also some information that I may have on the reservation, especially for those of you that use Sabre profiles. That's something interesting, of course, that you may want to keep in mind if you guys use Sabre profiles. A lot of information that's filed about hotels, it's going to auto-populate in here, like for example a client ID. So I am going to be able to see, for example, a client ID, a frequent guest number, everything that I actually have on my Sabre profile, on the profile for the client. If that profile was used to create the PNR, in this case that I'm displayed on the screen, that information will get auto-populated. So that's something also very nice. If you don't have Saver profiles, at least you have a reservation with the name and the agency address, and you know that when you get to the end of the process, you will be able to book the hotel right away, which is what we're going to do right now. So I'm going to click on Shop Hotels. And now, yes, now that we've seen all the possibilities and all the little features that you're able to use in Sabre Red 360 with hotels, what I'm going to do is to sell a hotel, just for you to see how easy this is. I can also close the the trip summary at any point so it doesn't take space out of my screen. And I'm going to do that right now. So if you take a look, I have all the information of my original search. One more time, we talked about this little triangle that appears, and I can go ahead and I can open this up to take a look at all the information that we've also shared previously. But now I'm going to go to view rates. When I go to view rates, I am going to be able to see the details, and sometimes you will be able to see maybe the rates in a currency that is not the one that you need. One thing that you can do nowadays, it's actually to specify that you need to get this in USD. Other than that, the default is the supplier currency, and again, we are displaying hotels in London, so that's coming up in some cases in GBP. That's going to depend on the supplier. I can change it to dollars. I can apply my filter saying, just want a refundable rate. I want commissionable rates. I am going to apply and I will be able to see here every rate that I want. So I can go ahead and I can scroll down in order for me to be able to see all the different rates that are offered. all the commissions. Remember, with the green dot, you have all the information. So everything, it's going to be very, very easy. I can go ahead and I can open this app and click on book. In this case, just for me to be able to show to you the entire process, I'm going to just select Sabre Rates in this case, which I don't get commission on that on the training environment. And I'm going to open this app and I'm going to click on book right away. Remember, you can see the rate details, but I can click on book right away. And I want to show you how easy this is. You have all the information here. And of course, because I do have my name and I have an agency address, this is the last stage of my reservation. As I said before, if you happen to have Sabre profiles, a lot of the information will come up automatically in here. So you can go ahead and select it. I have the payment details and I'm going to say, well, this is guarantee with a credit card. And of course, this is grabbing the form of payment that I have on my credit card. So again, on my PNR, sorry. So again, a lot of information comes up automatically in here when you have a profile. I am going just to click on book right away in order for us to be able to see how it confirms our property and our reservation right away. So as you can see in here, I just selected a couple of things. Of course, if that information is not auto-populated, you can just fill in the blanks. All right. And right here, you can see how the room has been reserved. So you have the confirmation right away. You have the chance to display the PNR graphically, and you will be able to see in between of my arrival segment and the return segment that hotel reservation that we just made. At some point, of course, just in case, I always like to receive an the record. I'm going to do that with the format. All right. But you can also do that with your trip summary. Remember, if you like to do it graphically, all right, you can go ahead and then retrieve from here too. My hotel segment lives on the trip summary. I can, as I said before, just open the graphical PNR just by clicking on the locator. You can also go to PNR and display A. There's plenty of possibilities for you to display the information. And right here, you will be able to see all the information for your customer. You can see in detail on the itinerary tab. You can open this app. You will be able to see the details and, of course, the options for you to modify or change the dates or to delete this segment. So right here, I can go ahead and I can just click on the different tabs to be able to see some of the information. So this is very, very useful. Now, as I said before, in the itinerary, you can go ahead and you can click also on the trip summary on the three dots. The three dots are always at the end of the segments. And as well as we clicked on the three dots for the air segments and we clicked on add hotels, we can click on the three dots now that we have our hotel segment and we can change dates, modify details. This is very, very simple for you to do. As you can see graphically, the only thing that I need to do, it's actually to select what I need in here. So again, I just want to change my checkout for March the 31st. I can click on change and I will get that change done. So this is something that you can easily do, modifying these hotels. I will also like to show you before I wrap it up with this part of the presentation and leave it open to questions, that you can delete also segments from here. I'm going to delete the segment. And the reason why I want to do this, and I'm going to end and retrieve, as I said before, I can do it with the format, but I can also do it from the trip summary. is that I want you to know also where to find all the information you need. So whenever you cancel or whenever you need a confirmation, all that information will fall on the traveler information field of the PNR that goes into the OSI. So remember, when you go to the traveler information graphically, you have the display and you can go ahead and see that particular category for OSI, and this is where you're going to get all the confirmations or cancellation numbers. That's an important field for you to check. So basically, the idea was to show you all the possibilities that you have. Again, I'm actually doing this last search and the booking of the hotel effective with a PNR. But remember all of these other possibilities that you have in order to search for a hotel from scratch. Remember again the possibility of booking not only Sabre rates, but also aggregator rates. This is very, very important. And of course, this requires that you actually decide what are the aggregators you want to use, whether if you use booking.com, Expedia, Bets Online, right? And of course, we do have a training that's 2 hours long for you to be able to learn more about all the different details on booking aggregators or Sabre rates. So I think, Lei, that concludes my part of the presentation. I'm pretty sure that there's going to be some questions on the chat, right? Lei, you're muted.
Sorry about that. So excellent presentation. Thank you for all the things that you showed to us. And please remind us where we can be trained on hotels if we're interested on receiving instructor-led training or self-paced training. Um,
If you want to, actually we have plenty of training options. Let me see if I can quickly open up my Sabre Central site. But all of the training options, guys, are available in Sabre Central. You should all be familiar. I hope you are familiar with Sabre Central. You have plenty of training opportunities. You can go ahead and you can do self-paced trainings. We do have a lot of self-paced trainings. Bear with me 1 second. I think that it would be better and nicer
we
and
are
easier if I.
we, we are going to share the training options after the session. Um, so no worries, Vicky, if it is like slow or it's
No, no,
uploading.
I have it. I have it. I
You
can
have it?
quickly,
Okay,
yeah,
great,
at least just for you guys to get an idea, we have
good.
plenty of options under the training tab. When you go to Sabre Central, we have a training tab. When you click on it, you will be redirected to our training site with all of the training options. As I said, there's plenty of options for you that we hope you can take advantage of. We do have self-paced training, so you can go ahead and you can sign up for that. But we also have an instructor-led training session that I've been recommending to you because there's a lot more that I we have to share with you about hotels. This is just a short demo, but if you actually go to the instructor-led trainings, you will be able to find a training on hotels, content services for lodging. That's actually the name of the session. All right, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to that part here, signed up as a Sabre employee, but this is where you have to go. On the training tab of Sabre Central, you have self-paced and instructor-led training for you to access.
We will share the link for those after the session. So
There you go.
thank you, Vicky, for
Great.
showing us that as well. Okay, so
Sure.
let's go over the questions now because as you can see, we have Kelly and we have Sebas. They are the specialists for this topic. So we welcome the responses and your questions, of course. So Melanie says, I use Sabre on the web. How do I see air hotel, the card tabs? So maybe Sebas, you would like to answer that one in
Sure.
the Sabre Red
Hello,
web?
everybody. Yeah, on the top right, we have the command helper button. As you can see on the screen, now it says manual command because when you click on command helper, it will switch between the manual command and command helper option. And when you are on the command helper option, you have all the different graphical viewlets on the top left. And there we have hotel.
Excellent, excellent question and response. Mary and Josie were raising their hands, but I'm not sure what was the question because I didn't see the question in the chat panel. So please, if you have a question, put it in the chat, and we are going to read it out aloud so everyone can learn from your question. Then we have a question from a colleague, a Sabre colleague. So he's asking, why do we have two property ID numbers? Why we have the Sabre property ID, the short number, and we also have the global ID, the longer number. So maybe, Sebas, you can go to that one because I see your answer right below.
Sure. I can take that one. With
Thank
inclusion
you.
of the aggregator content in Sabre, we have the need to expand the property ID count. So we came up with the idea of the global property ID that expands to beyond the medium properties. That's why we get the 9 digits. And the Sabre property ID is the classic one that we have been using for years now. And you can use one or the other. It doesn't make any difference. And in the Sabre screen, you will get both when applicable. Because we also have a deduplication effort within Sabre that no matter if the property is coming from Sabre or from the aggregator, you will just see it once, as Vicky was showing, right? And then you can get all the available rates for a given property. So you shouldn't be seeing more than one property, right? You get one property with the global property ID or the Sabre ID, as you can see that Vicky is highlighting on the Sofitel Miami there. And then on the far right with the down arrow, you will get all the different rate sources where the property is showing available rates.
Excellent. Excellent. So we have another question from Stacy, and she says that the graphical mode, according to her, is quicker. So thank you for that. And she's asking any way to search postal code in graphical mode. Maybe Vicky, you can go over that one.
I'm actually just showing that on the screen once again. We
Oh,
we actually did yeah, I continue sharing my screen because I think that it could
yes,
actually help to explain some of the things that are coming up. We did an address search. Stacy, right? We did an
yes,
address search and I used the street address. It's my street address is coming up. Probably there's no hotels around where I live, so that's not going to work. But you can also do the postal code or the zip code. There's no need for you to actually putting the street address. You can do the search with the street address as we did. But if you don't have a street address and what you have is a postal code, you can also do that. I cannot recall one postal code, but we can use one of the ones that we have here,
Um, you,
33166.
you wanna try one?
I have one here. From the search that I have there on the screen. So
And
you
and a
can
good and a good tip. Sorry, Vicky,
yeah,
I
go ahead.
just interrupt you. I
No,
would
go
tip
ahead.
also because we know that a postal code may be kind of a bigger area to be searching for. You can play around with the distance with miles and kilometers, right? Depending on the metric unit you like the most, right? In order to narrow down your search, right? So if you can really get into the postal code specifically, you can play around with the distance. That it's of course a round distance. It's a circle, right? When it's going, the center of the circle is going to be when the geolocation services, in our case it's MapQuest, will focus on the postal code, and then 10 miles around we'll do the search for available hotels within the search criteria.
So I'm,
Excellent
I'm
tip.
just doing it right now. Great tip about the distance. That's
Yes.
great. And right here, that's again the zip code that I used in this case. It was 33166, and we applied the distance. That was the maximum. I used 10 miles. You can also use, in this case, the sort by distance could also help in order just to put everything closer, so that we were also able to see.
Thank you. Stacy also says that she has tried with hotels in London, and according to her, you need to type exactly the hotel name or the property name for Sabre 360 to return the result. So, do we have any comment on
I can
Stacy
add
in
a
the
comment
input?
there, Lay.
Yes.
So I believe that the reason why courage it's not coming up is because it has that apostrophe, which is not a valid character in SR360. That's why you get the result. If you eliminate that apostrophe S, it will come up. Um, what we can do is take this back as a feedback item to our product team so that they can analyze and see if those special characters can be supported, or if there's a special character in the name, maybe it could be suppressed so that the result still comes up. It's not something we currently support, but it's certainly good feedback that we can take back.
Wonderful, Kelly. Another question from Stacy. Do we have an option to display hotels which are not available? Even if they are not available, I want to see them.
So we don't currently show them, but it's a feedback we've gotten from agencies as well, and it's currently in a backlog for SR360. Unfortunately, I don't have a date to share on when this would be in production, but it's certainly something that we have heard from agencies and we're reviewing. What I can do, Stacy, is add your agency name to the list of agencies that have requested this so that your account team can keep you posted on any developments on this.
Excellent. More questions from Stacy. And they don't see aggregator rates. Is there something they have to do in the agency to see them?
Yes. So aggregator rates are a choice of every agency. As Vicky mentioned, we do have Bets Online, Expedia, and Booking.com at the moment, as well as Nirvana and CMNet specifically for Brazil. So to order this aggregator content, you would do it through Sabre Central. And once you place that order, you'll get an email with all the instructions that you need to follow to be able to enable this content.
Excellent. And last question from Stacy. Is there a place to put consortia rates?
Vicky, I think you're displaying it right now. If you want to take that
Yeah.
question.
Yeah. Well, there's different things that you can do related to the rates. One of the things that we mentioned during the training is that if you actually have a client ID for negotiated or corporate rates, you can include that in here. You have the chance to include up to 8, or you can request only those rates by adding the code. But you do need to add the codes in here to access those specific rates. And it's the client ID's qualifier.
Wonderful. Thank you, Vicky. Jewel
Just
is
to
saying that,
just
yeah,
to
sorry.
clarify, the client ID is coming from a tool that is called Hotel Program Manager that we
Mm-hmm.
are not going to review in this session. There is self-paced training and also trainer-led training on that topic that takes way more time to learn and master, but it's a very good tool. That is where the hotels load the rates for the agencies, and the agencies, of course, create their own programs with these client IDs that Vicky was showing in order to do the shopping search in Sabre Red 360 and to get your negotiated or contractual rates.
Thank you. Uh, just a comment for Jewel, and says that Sabre Hotels icon is disabled. So try to check now with all the indications that Vicky, Kelly, and Sebas have been showing. Try to do it on your side. And if you still cannot see it, you can send us a screenshot in the chat panel. Okay, so Linda says, if you get a hotel confirmation, you try to end the record, and then you get the ignore and retrieve response. So you will lose the confirmation. That would be one. And then is the hotel infant to be confirmed if you don't end the record in the PNR? So I think that we have like two questions in one comment.
Do you want me to take this one?
Yes, please, Sebas.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Um, the communication between Sabre and the hotels happens when you are creating the segment. But the only way to really get the confirmation at the end and store is when you do the ER. So if you are not doing the ER and you ignore, there is going to be a message sent back to the hotel that essentially won't be saving that confirmation number that you get initially. It's not recommended to do that, of course, and if you are adding segments to a PNR and you get the confirmation number, you need to follow the standard agency workflow, right? And add all the necessary PNR requirements, and then ER the reservation to make sure that that confirmation number is guaranteed. Without the PNR, the confirmation number is not guaranteed. And if by any chance accidents may happen, right, and you are not able to ER the PNR, we suggest you to contact the hotel just to make sure that the confirmation number is not still on the hotel system, right, and you don't inquire into debit memos or such.
Wonderful, clear. Then Hai says, is there a fee for training courses? Yes, you will find the information. The instructor-led training, they have a fee, so you can check the fee in following the path in Sabre Central training that Vicky indicated. Self-paced is free of charge. Okay, so you can take self-paced at any time if you prefer. Then our colleague Valerie is saying, how do I get aggregator content? I think we already went over that question. Remember that to get aggregators, you will need to go first, as Kelly indicated, to Sabre Central, and then Marketplace. Kelly, would you like to repeat that one just in case?
Sure thing. So you would go to Sabre Central, go to the marketplace. Actually, real quick, I know we're almost out of time, but real quick, since this is a repeated question, you'd go to Sabre Central, go to the marketplace, and then in the marketplace, you would search for content services for lodging, or as I do, I just start typing aggregators, and that will come up in the search bar. Once you're in this page, you would just read your terms and conditions, which are here, and then there's an expanded version of the terms and conditions via the link. If you accept them, you'll check mark here, add it to the cart, and just follow the steps on the checkout process. You would have to select which aggregators you're interested in, include your agency information, and as I mentioned, you will get an automated email with all the steps that you need to follow depending on which aggregator you're interested in.
Wonderful, clear. Colin says, adding a hotel booking in the PNR, can I end the PNR or the hotel booking without a credit card payment?
I can do this one if you want.
yeah.
It really depends on the type of rate and the hotel property, also the type of agreement that the agency may have with hoteliers. But there are different type of rates that may imply a guarantee that is needed or a deposit, right? And there are ways to guarantee just by using the agency address or the IATA code, right? But that really depends on the contract or arrangement between agency and hotelier, right? By default, most of them require a credit card to guarantee or either prepay the formation rate.
Excellent. Vicky, maybe this one is for you. Hi, and Stacy are asking if we can book hotels and do the search and everything with formats.
I
instead of
was
using the graphical.
I was actually replying on the chat since we were running out of time. I
Oh,
was replying directly to
oh,
them, but yeah, of course there are, as we said at the beginning, there are some formats that continue to work. So if you actually, just do a basic format, that's going to continue to work. Now everything it's actually going into a graphical mode. So some things are not going to work with the formats. I highly recommend personally that you give it a try. I know that we are used to formats. I used to be used to formats as well. And a lot of functionalities are really much better and much easier to do in the graphical way. Actually, a lot of things you can do in the graphical way could not be done, or at least it was really hard to do with the formats. So hopefully you can take advantage of that. Now, just to give you the short answer to the question, yes, some formats continue to work, some others do not. Like I said on the chat, the address, the postal code. There are some possibilities like to sort by distance. Some formats do not longer work.
and the formats are in Finder, right?
All the formats, yeah, of course, all the formats are available to you in Finder. So if you want to be able to get a list of those, as Seva is saying on the chat, you can use the HOT help, or you can go into Finder. So from I'm gonna access Finder quickly from Sabre Central. I don't know if I'm still sharing. Oh no, I'm not. So let me just share it once again quickly. You can always go to Finder. You can go to the index where you will find, of course, one main topic for hotel, everything we talked about today, and of course, a lot more that's covered on the 2 hour session. You will be able to find it in here. So all of the formats are available for you. You can find them here. You can also do as Saber was saying, you can go ahead and you can go to Saber and just type in a manual command HOT space help, and that's gonna maybe is together.
So
All together.
Together. Okay, all
it was
together.
a typo.
Sorry. You never know where the space goes in there. So yeah, so all together HOT help, and that's gonna show you a list of the commands.
And also, I mean, if for example you are trying a manual command, and for a reason you made a typo,
Yeah.
you make a mistake, or you know how the command really ends,
Mhm.
the system will offer you the option to check this list as well to see how this the command description and an example as you are seeing Vicky
I
on
think that
as you
even
are
if you
showing on
if
the
you actually if you try to use like something that does not work, like for example, this used to be the one for the address. All right, not only if you make a mistake, but also when you do a not supported format, this is going to also give you access to help, as Eva is saying. So yes, that's another great way for you to access this in case you have a problem with the space.
Excellent, team. So you answered all the questions in the chat. Thank you, everyone, for your time and your participation today. We hope the information we shared is valuable for you. This afternoon, we will send you the supporting material via email, including the PowerPoint presentation that Vicky did, the recording of the session, the training calendar and self-paced that we already mentioned, and the customer satisfaction survey. So please reply and respond the survey because we really appreciate your feedback, your comments, and is valuable information for future webinars, to organize future webinars for you. So thank you again. Enjoy the rest of your day, and together we make travel happen. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.